All right, guys. As I continue trying to get on Team Sig and help them with marketing, I put out a video talking about one of the more recent cases of an exploded Sig 320 and what I'm thinking about doing to mitigate the chances of mine blowing up. So I got my Sig Armor disconnector. I'm going to order my KKM barrel as soon as I'm done with this video. But before I do that, let's go through your comments about the Explody 320s. Man, that SIG check bounced hard, didn't it? They have not sent me a check yet. I don't think it would bounce if they did. Guys quoting me, I've been hit in the face with exploding SIG on more than one occasion. That's actually true. I have been hit in the face with exploding SIG on more than one occasion. But it's been a long time. It's been some time. I'm willing to forgive and forget. You know? All right, next one. SIG definitely knows exactly what's causing it. They also know it will cost money to fix, and they'd rather give that money to influencers to convince us there's nothing wrong. That is a conspiracy theory, sir. How dare you? How dare you say these things? My 320 Blue took out the right side of the frame and extractor. Yes, the problem is the barrel. Too much of the case exposed. There have been many pictures of bulge factory-loaded ammo fired from the 320. Case with a thin spot on the back will then rupture, and boom. SIG will not change the design of the barrel to get the case more supported because that would mean admission of a defect and open them up to many more lawsuits. You should not have to buy an aftermarket barrel to make the gun safe. Well, yes, it's obviously you shouldn't have to buy an aftermarket barrel to make the gun safe. There's a big difference. I've actually never had a pistol and look at it and be like, I'm modifying this for my safety. Like, I've never done that. That's it's like never happened. But now that I'm shooting a SIG 320, the mods are kind of like, it's kind of that way. It's like, if I buy a Glock, I need to replace the MOS because their MOS is shit. If I buy a PDP, I don't need to do anything because that one will just be okay from the factory. But with the SIG 320, it's like, I'm going to, like, my friends are like, we have to make sure you don't get hurt. So let's modify this thing. It's awesome. It's like stranger than fiction type stuff. All right. I'm on a military shooting team, and we've had the right slide release bar on an M17 break off the FCU in the middle of a match at the WPW championship, whatever that is. We have a bunch of issues with rear sight plates too. Yep. I love SIG ergonomics, but they have serious quality control issue. Really wish they would fix all of this. And yeah, and you see comments like that a lot. Like a ton. The SIG Armor has an incredible video about what's causing these out-of-battery explosions. Honestly, SIG should implement his kit that fixes the issue in every factory going forward. The fact they haven't openly discussed this is actually crazy to me. Borderline criminal, if I had to guess. All right, it kind of is sort of borderline criminal. I don't know. I'll say this: it's like for how watered down everything is in the U.S. You know, like as far as it's so difficult for me to go buy something that's gonna like straight up hurt me. You know, like consumer products are lame. If it's legal for me to buy stuff, it's like, I mean, unless it's just like, well, it's typically not going to do something dramatic and hurt me. Like, it's a little surprising to me that I'm still allowed to buy really fun stuff. Like, you can still buy a sports car, and that's really fun and kind of dangerous. And that's a little bit amazing to me that that's still allowed. And the SIG pistols, it's kind of like, man, it's a little bit surprising that just from like a consumer safety standpoint, they're actually allowed to still sell those things. Because there seems like there's a lot of problems. It's a little bit amazing. It really is. I don't know if I'd call it criminal, but when you say, yeah, it's borderline criminal, I'm just kind of like, yeah, it might be. It really might be. I don't know the details, but it might be. I had a round blow out my ejector on an M18. SIG said it was designed to do that. No reason to doubt that. That sounds great. SIG has not fixed this gun yet. Total redesign. No other company if having this happen, as well as firing it on its own. It's unacceptable. Okay. SIGers always want to talk about how Glock owners buy a Glock and then put $400 in it to make it shootable. My brother in Christ, you have to put $400 in your SIG to make sure you don't blow your balls off when you carry appendix. It's kind of true. It's kind of true. Like the mods that I do to my Glock, I feel like are pretty much voluntary. Again, except for the MOS plate. With the 320 stuff, it's like, I don't know. Don't get married to your 320s. They're just like women. Once you stick to one, it'll blow up. Keep your options open and your 320 will continue to work hard and not let itself go. Is that how that works? I don't know. I'm not married. I've seen multiple case heads let go on Glocks and XDs. Neither of those blew the frame apart. Ditto, yeah. To be fair, the polymer on the Glocks is spec'd to be soft enough to withstand that, and all the corrosion stuff is overbuilt. The polymer on the 320 feels harder in my hands and subsequently could be more brittle. Seen quite a few of these grip modules shattered like glass now that the gun has been around a minute. Yeah, it's definitely like the grip panel or the grip modules are not super thick, and I think the explosions look even more dramatic because those things are so thin. As a SIGger myself, I recommend watching Bruce Gray's video on this topic. He ran multiple tests on 320s that he modified to shoot out of battery, and he went as far as removing material in the chamber wall so there was even less chamber support. His conclusion was that 320s are blowing up from overpressured ammo and not from out of battery detonation and poor chamber support. But the sample size of one, you'll never know until someone else runs some more experiments. Honestly, like, I think Bruce Gray is full of shit when it comes to this. Like, completely full of shit. Like, I just don't believe what he's saying was like, oh, it's ammunition in every case. It's kind of like, that makes no sense based on, like, my time doing shooting stuff. Like, seeing the issues with the SIGs, it's kind of like maybe there's an ammo component to this, probably. But saying this is all ammo is nutty. Okay, why buy a 320 at this point? There's lots of great guns without the issues. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. I haven't taken a run at a 320 in quite a while. I think the SIGA apologists are more likely to trick out their 320s, which is why this happens more often to A, cops or departments that can't modify their guns, or B, competitors that are using higher-end 320s, with SIG USA still the barrel manufacturer. Well, I think the other thing is that competitive shooters do like to lighten up their recoil springs. Now, I think there's a lot of variables that goes into these guns kabooming, and I do think having a heavier recoil spring that's going to send that round all the way into the chamber more reliably, that is related. So I do think that competitive shooters blow them up more just because they're messing with recoil springs. Not that they should blow up at all. I'm just saying. I think that that's got something to do with it. Why risk getting hurt by using a 320? Dude, it's the internet, man. Sometimes you gotta take some risks. The issue is enough to prevent me from buying one of these guns or recommending them to anyone. Fair. It's absurd to buy a firearm which the customer must then modify to have a safe handgun. This is absurd. Don't buy them until SIG fixes them. Period. It's like, well, my man, I gotta go boldly forward and do the things that you guys aren't doing. I'm confused. SIG won't accept accountability and pretty much dismisses the issue, but they'll drop a sport disconnect to fix the issue. That's from SIG Armor, a different guy, different dude. Isn't that pretty much admitting? Yes, it is. That's why I think the SIG Armor guy probably doesn't make SIG very happy. I would guess there's not a good relationship there. Another SIG major incident, so wait for another round of SIG fanboys saying there's no evidence of it or they're not convinced because other fanboy channels can't duplicate it. Yeah, you should probably, like, at this point, I just would ignore the fanboys. Like, people telling you that it's not real. Like, I get it. They want, more evidence or whatever. But I'm just telling you, I've seen so many issues with the SIGs, and you just don't see this stuff on the same scale, or to me at all. I haven't seen it at all with other guns. I haven't seen other guns blown in half. Not saying it's never happened, but I've never seen it, and I've seen it with the SIGs a lot. All right, I had a different gun blow up on me once shooting factory ammo. It was an FNP 45. It was known to have an unsupported chamber, hence why they came out with the FNX 45. There have been quite a few that went kaboom. When I contacted them, they took the gun back, no questions, and gave me a brand new FNX in return. Yeah, that seems smarter to do that. I don't know if SIG is so nice to people. Ben, you better up the insurance policy. Not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I saw a SIG blow up Sunday at a match. Like, yep, that's the thing that happens. It's definitely a thing that can happen. All right, this reminds me of Jeep denying the death wobble and calling their customers a bunch of crazy assholes. Like, yeah, probably. If you want to buy top-tier barrel that isn't full drop-in, Barstow is probably one of the top pistol barrels you can get. Yes, that's kind of the thing with the 320s to me right now. It's like either I get the KKM or the Barstow. Like, I don't want the Barstow. And let's read on. If you choose custom fit or semi-fit, don't take my word for it. Just ask around or research. I'm not aware of any issues with their barrels. Further, there are plenty of companies that can make very good barrels for many mainstream pistols, but Barstow is a step beyond any I have dealt with, as they are comfortable making caliber conversion barrels for different systems that no one else does. Yeah, I think they're going to make a better barrel, but it's going to need to be fit better. And it's like I want my barrel to be kind of a hoe. Like, it'll just take anything. Yes, he's saying here it's better than KKM. Yes, because the KKM barrels are designed to be drop-in. I have several of each with many rounds. I can buy them for accuracy as a target shooter, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's like I want it to drop in, and I want it to be a little bit wide. So I want it to eat everything. Absolute accuracy is not, whether the thing groups like 1.5 inches at 50 or 1.25 inches at 50, I don't really care. I believe M&Ps support their casing even more than Glock example. Ben, do you have any M&Ps to compare to? Yeah, I do. Ben, based on the classes you do, what is the ratio of Glocks to 320s? Say it's 1-for-1. How many Glocks have blown up compared to SIGs? Yeah, I see more Glocks than SIGs for sure. I've had, in the last few years, I haven't had a SIG blow up in class. I do see plenty of the modified SIGs where it's like an aftermarket barrel type of a thing. SIG got very complacent as a gun manufacturer. They were riding high on their reputation, relying on fanboys to show their guns for free, and now it looks like they hit a wall. Everyone knows SIGs have issues these days. Yeah? Yeah, that could be. All right, well, it looks like... Yeah, we've gone through the comments as much as we're going to go through them. I'm going to order a KKM barrel. My 320 should be ready to go. I don't know when I'm going to install all this stuff. I'm going to shoot at factory for a while, probably sometime mid-October. I'll install all of the things to make it safe. It should be great.